All right, another episode of Whiskey Tree Legends with Master Distiller Luka Cutura. What's up, bud?
Glad to have you back, finally.
I know, I took a couple days off. Well, let's do the things we do. Let's freaking go. Cheers.
That's right.
All right, what you drinking?
Whiskey Tree Weeded, baby. Double gold winner, San Francisco Worlds.
That's the hottest thing we got right now. I got the black and gold. It's with our Whiskey Tree Bourbon, so definitely bourbon drink, a little bit more summery.
What they got in that cocktail, you know?
It's kind of a take on the whiskey sours. Got some honey, got some lemon juice, and of course got some Whiskey Tree Bourbon. I think there's a couple other things. There's a beautiful garnish in here. I don't know what it is. I think it's
a dried smoked lemon.
Yeah, I mean, adds not only a great taste to it, but a beautiful look to the cocktail.
People are like, Luka, what do you mean? You don't know what's in there?
Yeah.
Well, I ain't a mixologist. I'm going to tell you, this is a test lab for us. We make spirits back there in the back, and we like to put them together. We're always challenging the bartender and the front of house staff to come up with cool cocktails, something new to inspire people to come here and try different cocktails, but how our products work in a cocktail. After all, New Orleans is the origin of the cocktail, right?
That it is. And look, I put 2 straws in mine and not one in yours just to make sure we were good. So no throwing straws this week.
Could you imagine me drinking this through a straw? We might have to try that one day.
I can't imagine you drinking anything with a straw. So, well, look, you talked about we got some, the spirits that we make were the origin of the cocktail, but lots of great things going on here at the distillery. So like we always like to do, let the audience know what you've been working on and what big projects have we been releasing.
Single barrels, and more single barrels. Man, I had somebody yesterday call me from Switzerland, a bourbon club. Yep.
I didn't know. That's awesome.
You didn't know that.
Yeah.
I got to save something from you.
It's a secret. I love. We're breaking news here. Even I'm learning stuff.
They came down for the New Orleans Bourbon Festival, which is a great festival, by the way. Attracts people from all over the world. And got to meet them. Mikey sent them back with some samples of stuff that they enjoyed, and they shared it with their guests in their bourbon club. Bourbon Club, America's whiskey in Switzerland. How cool is that?
That is pretty
right?
Cool.
He called me yesterday and says, we want to buy a barrel. This is what we want. And I said, let's figure out the logistics. Oklahoma City just sent a barrel to some corporates up there. Northern California, man, that's the fun part about what we do. Word's getting out. The power of New Orleans, of hosting people in the distillery, them having a great experience, going back home and wanting to share us, and then them calling back saying, you know what, I want bottles for our clients. That's the cool part. That's the stuff that we're doing right now. Of course, we always got stuff going on. We're bottling. It's tough to keep up with St. Rock. We're moving a lot of St. Rock. A lot of the leaders, St. Rock Cucumber, Gentilly Gin leaders on premise. People are really catching on, sharing it with their guests in hotels and restaurants, and the whole bottling line of bottling single barrels as they pick them. We got a quick turnaround. We're known for our quick turnaround, and people want what they pick right away. And we've created it. We've developed a cool little assembly line of how to put it out quick. Yeah. And that's the joy about what we do. Being able to deliver.
Yeah, and look, the other thing is that, it's July, it's hot. That's not usually associated with bourbon, but a lot of the people that you're talking to are now preparing for August, September, and then as you roll into October, November, December, which are traditionally bourbon months. And what they're doing, to your point, is they're reaching out, the awards we won, the visibility we're getting, we're now a bourbon that's starting to get sought after. And I agree with you. I mean, I didn't know that. Obviously, I was out of town. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but that is what people are starting to see. They're starting to prepare. They're doing tastings with you. They're committing to those barrels. I think it's September is National Bourbon Month as you roll into October. So what we're doing now, it's hard to believe. I mean, it's July 8th. Like we're already past halfway through the year. So it's exciting to hear that. I mean, Switzerland, that's literally, a world away. It's literally a world away. So that's awesome. That just goes to show.
It's winter over there.
It's winter over there. So we just talked about it's summer. It's hot. New Orleans is not the destination for people that don't enjoy the heat and humidity. But the good news for us is there's still a lot to do here. And we have some great cocktails to work with. But I know there's a bunch of things that you enjoy to do in the city and then that have been great partners of us. So why don't you mention a few of those that you know of that are just great places for people locally and tourists to visit?
Well, Virgin Hotel is one of them.
Yeah.
Virgin Hotel is featuring our spirits on their cocktail menus. You know, Saint Rock, Gentilly Gin, the Maidstone. Man, get on layer. If you're hot and you're looking for a swimming pool to go swim at in the city, you don't have to be a tourist.
Yeah.
They'll let you come swim because they're putting out cool events. They have a state-of-the-art DJ stage there. I think it's like a $250,000 light show stage that they put on some first-class shows at the Maidstone.
Yep.
Look it up, man. Nobody throws a party better than New Orleans. But I got to circle back around to what you were saying about Bourbon Heritage Month and all of that. As an entrepreneur in the city of New Orleans, if you're not growing, you're stagnant. We teach people how to enjoy bourbon and cocktails during the summertime, which is very attractive to the ladies. The bourbon smashes, you know, those different cocktails. I just told you earlier about how we're the origin of the cocktail, and I'll argue with anybody over that. We're trendsetters down here. You know, they say, oh, what about New York as origin of the cocktail? You know what? If you believe that, kudos to you. We do what we do.
Yep.
But man, these fruity cocktails, that's really highlighting the nuances that we create in our Whiskey Tree Bourbon down here is really coming out in summer cocktails that people are thoroughly enjoying, and it's catching on with the tourist.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Virgin Hotel. They have a beautiful rooftop. I want to say it's 12, 13, 14, somewhere up in their stories up. Beautiful, very trend-setting. They use our Gentilly Gin in cocktails. They use the St. Roch vodka in cocktails. I mean, I'm drinking this today because it's a little bit of more of a refreshing cocktail using bourbon. They use
Exactly on point.
Yeah. And then the Maidstone has created some unbelievable cocktails using the St. Roch cucumber vodka, which we both know is a super refreshing spirit to use in lemonades and different things like that. And our social media team has done a fantastic job. We've collaborated with them. So if you're interested in going to look at some of that, go check out our social media. You'll see the cocktails. You'll see all that kind of stuff. Last thing before we go, after this first segment, we'd had some really cool bourbon releases recently. You know, I definitely, let's talk about our outside vendors first, and then we'll end on the special thing that you did here at the distillery. So
Man,
let's talk about the couple that we have out in the
I
market.
just got a text a minute ago. Marcelo's in Lafayette. He's like, Luke, where you at? I'm ready for another barrel.
Perfect.
How cool is that?
Breaking news, more breaking news.
You know, yep. We got a lot of stuff happening. Y'all, Martin's just bought the second half of the barrel. Let me explain to y'all. There's people putting out stuff on social media about what is this second barrel? It's not a second barrel. Is it the same thing, just a delayed release? No, it's a totally different spirit, y'all. You have the summer release, and then you have that winter harvest. I call that winter harvest. We pulled out that first half. They sold through it. I mean, blew through it, to the point that we kind of laughed at them a little bit. We told y'all would sell between 3 stores. Y'all would sell the barrel. Now we have the second half of that juice with oxidation has stayed in the barrel. It got those winter deep wood sugars, which really affected the flavor of the second half of that barrel. And people are coming back, sharing with us the difference. It's delicious. So, I think
And only, there's 3 stores with Martin's, right?
actually, no, Barone, there's 4 stores.
4 stores. Okay.
2 in Baton Rouge, 2 in New Orleans.
But so everything that we're aware of in New Orleans is sold out, but Baton Rouge has a few left, if
Yep.
I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that was a very quick one.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Hey, that's what we want. We don't want our bottles getting dusty.
It flew quick. I know we've gotten some phone calls at the distillery, so that's a good thing for us to release.
You know why bottles get dusty? Because you don't drink them.
Yeah.
We don't want them getting busted.
We don't want dust. No,
We
dust is not good.
developed a bottle that's crushable. You want to drink our bottle.
Right.
It's addictive. Once you have that first sip, the second sip makes you want the third and fourth sip. That's what a good flavor. That's what New Orleanians truly know how to do. Create something that makes your palate dance.
And speaking of crushable, let's talk about the pilot one.
Dude, what's the Pilot? Pilot is my hometown. It's Pearl River. Pilot truck stop. Probably in the top 5 for liquor movers in Louisiana. The Honey Island Swamp, Whiskey Tree Bourbon, honey finish. In the Honey Island Swamp. Whiskey Tree in the Honey Island Swamp. You want to talk about a great, not only sipper, but a great old-fashioned. Y'all, we just dropped that last week. They have it over there. They got it priced aggressively. Get over there. It won't be duplicated. It's a flavor that you're going to want to share with your friends.
There you go.
It's a great bottle.
Yeah, it's gonna move fast. The last one we did with them moved pretty fast. So, and then last but not least,
111 proof, I think it
oh,
is.
that's good. And honey
Honey
finish?
finish.
Yeah, so those have been extremely popular. Last but certainly not least, we did many different organizations were recognizing the fact 250 years anniversary of our great country. We did a special little thing that I'm going to say this before you go into it. That thumbs up barrel, anything and everything you put into there is an absolute, like, it's a banger. And we're seeing it already online, like they're talking about it. So why don't you talk about that one as well?
So that was a trendsetter also on social media. People were buying those thumbs up bottles, going on vacation, and they were posting the bottle sideways with the cap off, and it was empty, and
Empty,
it
yeah.
said crushable. So that's where the whole crushable came about.
Yep.
But y'all, what that is a great bottle. We make blends here through a blending pyramid, and you have A barrels, B barrels, C barrels. C barrels creating they're the nuanced barrels, creating 8 to 10% of the total blend. And those nuances, we refill those barrels as a finishing barrel, and it just gives you something different that is such a subtle nuance. You're starving for that next sip. And that's what makes those Lucas Thumbs Up barrels so sought after.
Yeah.
You know, it's proven the Thumbs Up barrel isn't always the same barrel,
No.
but it is a nuanced barrel.
So there's a couple people, 3 people specifically on the Facebook groups that we all follow.
A guy just came in today and bought 4 bottles.
Yeah. So, and to your point, so we just released this on Friday. By Sunday, 2 of those guys had finished the bottle. I'm hoping they had some friends that helped them out, and they literally were saying one there is one of the best releases that we've ever done. And one of the guys specifically, who's been a huge advocate, very big in the bourbon world locally, literally said this is probably the best barrel that we've ever put out. So it's a kudos to you, and we're very excited. And I think we've got a few more cases left, so if people are starting
How fun is
to so very
I
exciting.
can tell you
stuff.
where one's going.
Where's one going?
One's going to Croatia tomorrow with me.
All right, you're teasing. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the fact that I actually went on a vacation. I'll share a little bit about that, and you're about to head out. How does that sound?
Exciting.
All right, perfect. All right, we'll be right back.
Tipitina's is an iconic uptown New Orleans music venue, opened in 1977 to provide a performance space for local R&B legend Professor Longhair, whose song inspired its name. Over the decades, the club has evolved from a neighborhood juke joint into a now world-famous stage for both national acts and legendary local musicians. Be sure to take advantage of the free admission every Friday.
All right, welcome back. It's Whiskey Tree Legends with Master Distiller Luka. We got you for what, 6 more hours? 12 more hours?
That's it.
That's it?
And I'm clocking out.
And you're clocking out? Yeah, I don't believe you for a second. So anyway, well, we're back. We're excited. This could be I don't want to say the last episode, but the most recent episode for a few weeks because you're going to be going out of town. You obviously got heading over to do we call it the motherland? How does that work?
Motherland for my family.
Motherland for your family.
Yep.
So
Yep.
awesome.
That's right, Croatia. I'll be flying out first thing tomorrow morning. This time tomorrow night, I'll be in Dubrovnik.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to catch a van and go to the house. It's the most breathtaking ride you can imagine. 1,000-foot cliffs overlooking cobalt blue water. Some of the oldest cities in the world. It's where Game of Thrones was filmed in Dubrovnik. You know, every bit of it. But just before you get to the house, you know you're getting close because of that smell hits you. You know, I talk a lot about sensory, and I'm talking about how that brings you back to a certain place. There's things that we create here at the distillery that brings me back to when I'm studying in France. There's things that really trigger the sensory to where it brings me to Pelješac. Pelješac is the peninsula that you know, my mom and dad, that's where they're at right now. That's where our house is. That's where we grow grapes and make brandies. And that esterification, that fermentation process just really sticks with you, you know, when you're nosing something back there in the back. And that's why people should enjoy spirits. It brings you back to a place. So I get to live that tomorrow. You know, we're going over there We fly in, we spend a couple of days with my mom and dad, and, we're gonna have some guests with us, and then we get on the AK. The AK is the Adriatic King, truly the king yacht of the Adriatic, and, get to spend the 7 days, island hopping, with some of my close friends from over here. They're meeting us over there, and, we get to travel. I hope to do that with you one day,
One day.
you know, Jeff too.
We talked about that. My family and I talked about that, so we definitely wanna make that
It's
trip,
a
so
great experience. So we'll go from, Dubrovnik all the way up to Zadar, the home of, Luka Modric. Yep. And then we'll travel back down and spend the following 10 days at my mom and dad's house on the sea, just relaxing, eating prosciutto and, cheese and wine and, drinking some good brandies.
and it's nice being a tourist and being on the other side of it. We host people here all the time. We have tourism here all the time. Um, the thing for me, there were a few things that I really related to, and I actually thought of you a little bit. There was a restaurant on the Amalfi Coast. I did Rome. We spent 4 or 5 days in Rome. Did all the touristy stuff, and then we went to the Amalfi Coast. And I have to imagine it's probably not the same by any stretch, but there's similarities between what you were describing and what we got to experience. But as much fun as I had doing all these things, the one thing for me that was very impactful for me is we went to this restaurant. And I'm sure I'm not going to do the pronunciation right, but it was Trattoria da Maria. And the hospitality that Mario, I got to meet Mario, the owner. My family was laughing at me because all I do is watch hospitality. And he embraced welcoming people, and he noticed the little nuances of everybody, and I thought of you a lot because you're so good at those types of things when customers come in the distillery or you do a tasting or a dinner, in public. Like, you'll see, what people are doing and how they're reacting, and you definitely, create this experience that they'll never forget, and that's what happened with me. And the food, of course, was fantastic all the way across the board, but this restaurant in particular, and his hospitality towards me and my family specifically was something I'll never forget, and that was the biggest takeaway for me in terms of the trip, in terms of that part. Now, of course, I was on vacation. I felt like I was cheating a little bit, and let me tell you why. I had a few beers. Um, Okay, I had some Peronis and a couple other things. So I had some Italian beers. I had some wine. You can't go to Italy and not have wine. And I did learn the trick. You'll tell me if I'm wrong or right. I should have asked you beforehand. Just ask for the house wine, right? I mean, the house wine is the one that represents them the most. That's
Yeah,
what they choose.
yeah.
That's what I was told. Like, this is the wine that represents the restaurant. They're going to pick a good one. Whatever you do, under no circumstance do you pick the second most expensive one, because that's not the good one, and that's the one they make the most money on. So I took that to heart, and I had some wine, and it was fantastic. But the one thing that was really cool for me is we did, Amalfi is known for the lemons, and we did a lemon tour. So I got to experience all of that. But then they made limoncello, and that was one of the times where you might have been disappointed me with again. And I'm texting you on the side like, Luca, like, they do limoncello, like, we can do this kind of a thing. We could do oranges, we could do satsumas, we can do local, like, that's a local product. So that might be something that we can do in the future. But I listen, and I'm super excited for you to go to Croatia and do those, all, be with the family and all that kind of stuff, and experiencing that part of the world. I definitely appreciate what we're doing in New Orleans. It definitely is second to none here, but seeing that whole experience and some of the things they were doing in the spirit world specifically, was awesome. But it was happy to be back. Now, you're going to Croatia. You mentioned all that. This is obviously a trip that's very familial. You have a lot of ties. Obviously, your family's from there. You go there annually. But what people may not know, and we talk about your Croatian heritage, it's something that not only you're proud of, but I'm proud of as well. Um, but believe it or not, that most people don't know, and I want you to talk about, is the fact that that heritage, your history there, your family there, is actually a lot of the foundation about what you do today here in the distillery, and has provided so much background in order for you to create these great spirits. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's probably the first time that many of these people have ever heard this part of your story.
It's really cool to hear. I talk a lot about feelings when we come in a distillery, love, trust, joy, fulfillment. You got to experience somebody who was truly grateful for you choosing their restaurant to bring your family and spend your money there. So he was doing and paying attention to every little detail about your experience and your family's experience there. You shared that with me. And it was specific little nuances that he catered to y'all on, and it made you feel special.
Yeah.
That is what we're chasing every time somebody sets foot in New Orleans in our distillery. When they walk through the doors, we want to recognize them. We appreciate them choosing to come to us to spend their time and money. As far as Croatia and my family, there's something about taking my guest and showing them and taking pictures next to the press that my dad pressed grapes on at 16 years old. That's freaking amazing.
That's cool.
Walking down to the beach, walking into the doors, going to the stainless steel vat and filling up a 2-liter Coke jug of red wine, walking down to the beach and sticking it under a rock and sipping out of that jug all day long and trying to find your way back to the house at the end of the day. That's experiences that we get to enjoy over there. How do we apply that to what we're doing over here? Many different ways. First of all, knowing and living the experience that you could replicate with guests that you have 30 minutes with here at the distillery, sharing with them the stories of where the origination comes from and how you apply it to what you're making. Well, people ask me that all the time. What can you learn in Croatia when you're over there that you can apply to bourbon? What can you learn in France that you can apply to bourbon? And that is old world techniques that they've been doing since the 1200s and applying it to new world bourbon to give you different nuances that you don't get in every other bottle that you try. But doing it while you're sharing the story of where I originate from, where my family came from, and how they came to the United States, and how my dad came over here with a 4th grade education in the communist country. Second day in America, he was on an oyster boat. Oysters don't pertain to anything that we do in the whiskey world today, except for work ethic and patience. It takes 3 years for an oyster to become harvestable. It takes a minimum 4 years to create a bourbon that is not only palatable, but 7 years enjoyable.
Right.
Remember, we're trying to not only satisfy, but please the most sophisticated palates in the world. And that comes with a perfect marriage of creativity and an experience, all coming together on somebody's palate and sharing with them something they've never had before.
Yeah. And look, you've told me stories about whether it's, your immediate family or extended family between the crops that they grown, brandy, wine. It may have been done a little bit more on a personal level or for personal use, but you have ties in your family that have created spirits or wine or different things, or helped grow crops in order to provide that. And listening to those stories, I'm always a big believer, like everything has led us to this point and helps us succeed in the future. Having you talk about that and have that history and then all the work ethic and what your dad came over and did, to me, everything that you've experienced and you talk about from your family perspective, I really do believe provides a lot of the reason why we've seen success in the spirits that we've grown here. Whether it's a small scale, you can apply the small scale stuff to the big scale, and the pride that you're doing. So I think it's a cool story, and I love when you tell that.
There's a lot of gods in our world.
Yeah.
It's who you pay attention to, who you learn from, the industry that you're working in. And I got to tell you, I mean, when I say stuff like Gurgich wines in California,
Yeah.
that stands out. People say, "Oh, that's a great California wine." Well, guess what? Those wineries, that winery, I'm going to be at in 3 days.
Nice.
The original winery in Pelješac, Trstenik, which is the Gurgich winery, where those Mali Plavets grapes came from that we grow and sell to them to make Gurgich wines. It's one of the most popular wines on Pelly Shots. But not only the grape, not only the wine, he developed it through developing esterification. He developed that warm, fuzzy, buttery finish in wine that's so craveable that people look for. He figured out how to do that. That is forever going to be known, to where it made him win the #1 French award. I forget what the name of the competition was in the 70s. The most world-renowned award for wines he achieved in the 70s. That's where he created a name for himself. And that's what we're trying to do here. Find little ways to set our spirits aside from every other thing on the market.
Yeah. Well, look, you work harder than anybody I've ever worked with before. Your work ethic, second to none. You deserve every moment of this vacation. As much as I'm going to miss you.
It's going to be longer than you used to.
Yeah. I don't know about that. But I do have a couple questions, because I think this is intriguing. Like, is there anything from a tradition perspective that you're very excited about in going over to Croatia that maybe you don't get to experience as much here, but when you go over to Croatia, it's something that you have to experience or you have to do from a tradition perspective?
I feel with every being in my soul slowing down and disconnected. I feel that. It's sitting on the back of that yacht, having a cigar and a pour of whiskey tree with blue water flowing out the propellers, and just sitting with people I love and talking, disconnecting. It's my dad cutting off of a whole prosciutto front leg of just cheese and wine and sipping, and just telling stories and just really slowing down. I don't know that I ever slow down here
You don't.
like I do over there.
Well, you deserved it.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I talk about this and I try to highlight this because it's so important for people to work hard and earn their way, but yet enjoy the fruits of their lawn, what they've created.
Enjoy the moment. Absolutely. So look, I got one more question. You kind of mentioned a few things. When you go over there, what's the local spirit or the local, whether it's wine, beer, spirits, what is the one drink you have to have all over there that you can't always get here?
Well, now you can kind of get it
A little
here.
bit.
Shlivovica.
I was, but I,
It's a plum brandy.
yeah.
Also rakia. Rakia is made, and a lot of people make their own rakia. It's almost like a moonshine type. They make it with whatever they've got to make it with. But one of the craziest thing that you'll ever experience is locals pouring Coke in their wine, their red wine.
Interesting.
It's unreal. They call it a cocktail. And it's like, holy smokes, are you serious? And they're like, absolutely, Luka, delicious. Everybody does it. When in Rome.
When in Rome. Okay.
Enjoy your time.
How about this? Make sure at some point you touch base with me, and I'll find a bottle of wine and I'll pour some Coke in it. And we'll share that from a half a world apart. How does that sound?
How about we make a little post on social media while we're over there?
All right, perfect. I think we can do that. I know a couple people that would be excited about that. So look, enjoy every moment. Glad we get to do this before you head out. I know we got a few more things before we close the day, but you work your tail off. I'm gonna say it. You work your ass off. You're the one person that I know that I actually get embarrassed in terms of I don't feel like I'm working as hard as you are. So I'm actually going to be happy that you're going a little bit. I'll feel like I'm actually contributing a little bit. Have your Slivovitz, I'm not Brachia. Okay, I'm not even going to try. Have a little bit of that, and then when you're ready, text me. I'll go find some Coke at the house or something like that, which is not a lot due to the wifey. I'll pour it in some wine, and we'll cheers from half a world apart. How does that sound?
100%.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it. I tell you what, brother, we got a team here that is unmatched.
100%.
Back of the house, front of house, social media. These guys work. You work your ass off too. We all put in a lot of time because we're trying to achieve a goal together. It's very important that we rise together. We hit obstacles together. We find our way through them, and we all feel the joy in what we do.
All right, perfect. Well, we need to get you out of here. Let us come right back. We'll close out the show, and then it's time for you to fly out. How does that sound? All right, we'll be right back.
Our distillery provides a one-of-a-kind setting that combines the city's rich history with modern sophistication, perfect for weddings, bachelor parties, corporate events, and more.
All right, welcome back. Let's get you out of here. You ready?
I'm ready, brother.
All right, perfect. Tell us, you're going to be out for, what did I approve? How long are you going to be out?
We don't need to talk.
We don't need to talk about that. It's going to be a couple.
Everything's lined up.
It's going to be a few days.
Everybody.
All right, so you're going to be out for a little bit, but
Yeah.
why don't you tell our guests, our customers, our loyal clients, members, all that kind of stuff, what we got coming over the next few weeks? I got you. So we've got... You know, I tee it
so
up.
impatient.
I tee it up.
You're so impatient.
Coach, I know you well enough to where I saw you in your eyes. You have no idea what I'm talking about. Prep work means absolutely nothing.
Oh,
All right,
man.
perfect.
My
we've
brain
gotta-
was smoking trying to get
You're-
everything lined up for when I'm gone.
Coach, you're already on the back of that yacht you were talking about.
That's
All right,
right.
so perfect. Let's look over the next couple of weeks. We got a Martin's Metairie Rum event on July 9th. That's technically tomorrow, according to when we're taping this. We've got a big charity event with the Urban Conservancy that's going to be taking place at the distillery, so we're excited about that one.
Heck yeah.
Louisiana Restaurant Association, we've done this for a few years. Why don't you talk a little bit about that so I can go find the dates on it? You got that?
Yeah,
You
it's
sure?
25th,
You sure you got that?
July 25th
All right.
and 26th. That's going to be in the convention center. It's a big deal. A lot of restaurant people are in town, man. They get
All right,
the
you
we
nailed
do
the
it. We
dates.
pour a lot of bourbon, we pour a lot of cocktails, and you know, we get to talk to a lot of people about what's going on in the distillery.
Yeah.
But the big event for us is Nicholas's Journey.
I was just
Pope John Paul High School in the gymnasium, about 550 people benefiting you know, kids that are going through struggles with cancer and transplants and things like that, and they're wanting special things to make their life a little, you know, more enjoyable. You know, when they're going through that, like Xboxes, like places for their parents to stay while they're going through treatment and all that. And that's what this gala does. It raises money for all of that. So we're gonna have bars set up in there. We donating some stuff. There's quite a few businesses locally that's donating different things. And man, look, it's a great event. So Nicholas's Journey in Slidell, July 18th.
Yeah, and that's Ross, and he's been a big supporter of ours. And
Owns Nathan's
This-
in Slidell.
yeah, this is one of the events that we're very passionate about. I know you're very passionate about that, but we all are super excited about that one. So I know you'll be out, but the team, like you said, the team's going to be taking care of everything.
Lighten it up.
We're going to have a huge support, and very much looking forward to that one. A couple more I want to mention just to make sure we're sharing our love. Dorignac's tasting on July 17th. Dorignac's always been a big supporter of ours as well. And I feel like there's one other one. You did nail the dates though for LRA, so I got to give you that. Louisiana Restaurant Association, Madison. I know we're not supposed to use the abbreviations. I guess that's it. I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, Elio, there it is. Tasting of Elio's wine on July 31st. So that's what we got going on.
Yeah.
Super excited about that. Anything else? Any parting words? Anything else you want to share before the Adriatic sun kisses you and you enjoy life a little bit more than you do?
I'm looking forward to doing some posts over there. I'm looking forward to interacting with people on social media while I'm over there. You know, like kind of like you, never unplugged, but always always connected. But look, looking for a great time.
Very good. And look, one ask that we have of everybody, please make sure you send in questions. We want to know what you want to hear about. We want to give some behind the scenes stuff. We want to tell some stories like we did today about Croatia, about your history, your family, some of the things we're doing, how we got to this point. That's been kind of the feedback that we've gotten from our customers, from our 7-3 members. If you're not a member, make sure you join. You get free access before releases of bottles like the 250th anniversary bottle that we have. You also get some great discounts. So send those questions in. We want to tailor these podcasts around those questions to make sure you're getting it. All right, bud.
And we want more guests in our live audience. We got Illinois in the house. We got Savannah, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia in the house.
And you
today.
forgot Boston. They're going to come over here and be
That is
really,
right.
They walked in and
That's
you,
right.
you
They on the tour right now.
They're on the tour right now. So perfect. Well, look, all right. Final cheers. Safe travels to Croatia. Take us away, Luke.
And when you're ready for a pour, y'all come meet me at the tree.